The Steam Deck has been a really fantastic device, one that has surpassed my expectations in many ways, but it isn't a perfect device, especially at around $400 at the base and $530 for my model in particular. So is the Steam Deck actually worth it? Well, I think you're going to be surprised with today's conclusion, but not really blown away. You'll understand by the end of this video. So now I would like to formally introduce the Steam Deck. Here is the good, the bad, and the ugly, even though it's not that ugly. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. And this video is sponsored by DIVOOM, the makers of this fantastic pixel art based clock. You actually get to use default animations on this or even create your own through Timebox Evo and have it play it. You get alarm clock functionality, a Bluetooth speaker, and social media integration. As a content creator, I definitely appreciate that because I get to keep an eye on notifications from things like Instagram, Skype, Snapchat, Twitter, and much more. So get yours through the link in the description because everybody needs a DIVOOM Timebox Evo. So links down below, and thank you so much for sponsoring this video. The exterior design consists of plastic for the entirety of the build. The Steam Deck feels pretty hefty, but lighter than you might expect from the size of this device. By the way, this thing is massive, completely awkward to use around other people in public because it's so massive. And already, this device does make me feel like the GPD Win 3 is just a better option for portability, but the Steam Deck is still a ton of fun to play with. It's actually very comfortable to use, and I can play with it for hours rather easily because of the fantastic grips around the back, and this unwieldy shape is actually quite ergonomic. And on the front, you're going to find your thumbsticks, Xbox layout for the buttons, which I really appreciate, your double trackpads with amazing haptics, and I will talk about that pretty soon, your stereo front-firing speakers, and your navigation buttons for SteamOS. On the top, you're going to find your shoulder buttons with analog triggers, some cooling vents, volume controls, headphone jack, sleep-wake button, and the USB-C port. On the bottom, you're going to find a micro SD card slot. And on the back, you're going to find some cooling vents and 4 remappable buttons, which I seldom used. While this device is honestly ugly and uncomfortable to use in public, this is a very ergonomic device that is fantastic to be used in bed. So I dig it, but I do wish it was smaller, significantly so, because this isn't really a portable device. This device features a 7-inch 1280 by 800 IPS display, which runs at 60 Hz and at a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. This display is very nice and colorful enough. I've noticed that it isn't super saturated or anything like that, so it's not the most vibrant display out there, but it is all the better for it. Games do look very good on this display, and the UI, by the way, also looks pretty sharp. I have found that every game that I tested does stretch out to this device's full aspect ratio, so I don't really have an issue at all for it, even if this aspect ratio happens to be better for productivity than it is for gaming. And with Windows installed, you could use it for productivity, but I probably wouldn't recommend doing that, not at least until the dock comes out, which would turn this into a powerhouse for the money, I'm sure. So as a touch display, navigating the UI is pretty nice as well, but the trackpads are so good that I much prefer to use those instead. Anyway, this is a great display, and I really don't mind that it is a 60 Hz screen. In fact, I kind of prefer that for the sake of preserving battery life, and I don't need to run games at a higher refresh rate anyway, but that's just me. The speakers are very good on the Steam Deck, easily the best speakers on any handheld out there, but they better be, considering how big this device is. They face the user as well, and are pretty difficult to cover up, at least with my small hands. There is a lot of clarity to be had from these, and I very much enjoy blasting my games this way. So why don't you have a listen?
Come to Papa.
So I've been teasing the trackpad's quality since the start of this video, but let me tell you why these are good. Let's go back to the Steam controller for a moment. I was never really a huge fan of this controller, and that's because of the trackpads in part. They are great with good haptics, but while I'm definitely alone in thinking this, Because of how many people really love this controller, I find the controller to feel a little bit too light and cheap, which makes the haptics feel a little off on this controller. I think my trackpad stopped working properly after a while because the haptics would persist for slightly after I lifted my finger. But on the Steam Deck, it seems like these have been upgraded. I would say that the overall heft of this device also makes the vibrations feel more solid, and these feel incredibly precise. Some might consider this a bit of an exaggeration, but this feels like a MacBook's trackpad with a plastic cover instead of glass. It's that good. Taps feel like actual presses, and moving a cursor around when needed feels so good to do so. I will be using these when I feel like the game will benefit the most from most simulation, so there is still more to be said on that front, but so far really awesome work here. Now onto SteamOS. I will just briefly talk about the things that I like about this OS and not really do a deep dive on it, but the OS is really nice in my opinion. It's simple and very easy to navigate. This is probably what a redone and more refined version of Steam Big Picture mode would be like, as it does resemble the PC Steam interface more than it does its Big Picture counterpart. You do get a more robust way of searching for games to purchase and to explore your library to install your game. This is everything I needed from the interface, to be honest, so I'm just going to leave it there. This device features a Zen 2 CPU, being a quad-core 8-thread CPU, 8-core AMD RDNA 2 graphics, 16GB of RAM, 256GB of NVMe SSD storage, 5GHz Wi-Fi support, Bluetooth 5.0 support, and a 40 watt-hour battery. When it comes to the specs on the Steam Deck, it's very impressive just how much Valve was able to cram in there for the price. But this is a massive device, I have to say. Now let's go ahead and talk about the game performance, finally. I'm going to be testing different genres of games, but these will only be on games that I play personally. Also, I wanted to point out that most of these games I ran off of a 1TB SanDisk microSD card. It's not the fastest card out there, but by any means, it is still a pretty good option, especially if you're on a budget for an SD card, I suppose. So let's begin with Elden Ring, since this game is just so hot right now, but I've mostly been playing this on PlayStation 5, so I know that I do look weak in this gameplay. I ran this game directly off of the NVMe SSD. This game isn't very well optimized for PC, and it does show, but I found that setting the default settings to medium does this game a lot of favors when playing it on the Steam Deck. You won't get 60 FPS, but over 30 FPS pretty easily like this, and honestly I don't really mind it too much, but that's because I didn't really fight any bosses for this test. Either way, if you wanted a good PC for playing Elden Ring, then I would say that the Steam Deck is a great way to go because it's so affordable while being this powerful. I mean, this device runs Elden Ring better than the GPD Win 3, which is about $700 more with less graphical glitches, if any really. So I was comfortable playing Elden Ring on this device, yes. I thought that the controls were pretty comfortable and the performance was comfortable too. Now, don't get me wrong, you won't get high frame rates out of the Steam Deck with this game, like I said earlier, but over 30 FPS should be good enough for a lot of people, and it is certainly for me. Performance in Final Fantasy 15 was pretty good too, but better than what you will get out of Elden Ring. I ran this game off of the micro SD card, by the way. The game looks pretty good, and with pretty high presets, you will get a pretty sturdy or pretty consistent 30 FPS, I should say, with some minor stutters here and there. But if you're willing to lower the settings to medium or even low, you can get a much more decent frame rate if you want it. It's just that the visuals are not really a worthwhile compromise to me, but this will depend on the person always. Either way, you can make this game perform quite well on the system, and I consider that to be pretty impressive. But the controls did feel somewhat unwieldy for this game in particular. Like, I did not have the most comfortable experience playing it on the Steam Deck, and I actually kind of prefer the GPD Win 3 in spite of it being way smaller, but performance was technically better with the Steam Deck. I really enjoyed my time playing this game, and I would still consider this to be a very good way of playing this game. By the way, every mainline Final Fantasy game, including the Pixel remakes, ran very well, with 15 being the least favorable, but you can play every single Final Fantasy game here, at least the mainline games. So this is amazing in and of itself, though can't really count the MMOs on there, and I guess a little bit more on that soon. Now let's talk about Doom. This game obviously ran very well, even off of the micro SD card, easily hitting 60 FPS. This is because Doom is a Vulkan title, and that API is more synonymous with AMD hardware, and that's exactly what the Steam Deck is comprised of. This game is very easily handled by it, and even looks incredible too. I also use the right trackpad as my mouse control to simulate a similar experience, and it worked absolute wonders. It did take some getting used to, but I ended up adjusting rather quickly as the haptics feel so precise, and moving the camera around felt really smooth. Even tapping felt like a button press, which allowed for glory kills in game. It just felt very natural, and this was easily one of the most comfortable games to play on the Steam Deck because of this, and this is easily the best handled experience for FPS games, though I only tested Doom since that's the only FPS game I actually like. This was a very fun time every time that I kicked up this game on here, and I even feel like getting back into this game because of it. But yes, Doom is fantastic on the Steam Deck and would probably even benefit from a higher refresh rate screen, but 60 FPS is still great on the go. Now let's get into Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, which I did load off of the microSD card, by the way. This game ran very nicely on this device, and you might be wondering, why didn't I play Shadow of War instead? It's because I just wanted to play some Shadow of Mordor, to be honest. Both games are quite different from each other in spite of one being the sequel to the other. Shadow of Mordor ran pretty comfortably, but the settings had to be dialed down already to low to mid settings roughly. However, I was getting around 50 FPS as this game appears to be a little much for the deck to handle, but it is totally playable. However, the controls are uncomfortable here, and I found that using a controller for this game in general is kind of uncomfortable. I remembered that I always play this game with the keyboard and mouse, but this game, in terms of performance, does do pretty alright. I wish that the settings could be increased while retaining that frame rate, but I'm satisfied with anything over 30 FPS on handheld. And finally, we have Persona 4 Golden. This game is being loaded off of the NVMe SSD. This game was ported over to PC to run at 60 FPS and with higher texture quality, and it all translates incredibly well onto the Steam Deck. It looks beautiful, almost like this game just absolutely belongs on the Steam Deck. This game isn't very well optimized on a lot of Windows handhelds, except for the Steam Deck, and it absolutely crushes it. This title is officially supported as of recently too, which should clear any doubts about its performance here. This game did stutter every now and then, usually when transitioning from one location to another, but these were minor stutters and nothing really too crazy. It was almost a completely seamless experience with it, and I do hope that they continue to work on this port to keep this from happening. Either way, Persona 4 Golden is a fantastic experience on the Steam Deck, and I would strongly recommend it here. So there are going to be some games that unfortunately are not compatible with the Steam Deck, and this is from actual testing. Persona 4 Golden wasn't compatible, even though it worked almost perfectly, but it recently became a supported title, so yay. But something like Final Fantasy XI, an absolute relic of an MMO, was running just fine a few days ago. Even through PlayOnline's nasty service and everything, the Steam Deck would load into the game just fine, but it won't do so anymore, which makes my playthrough on every Final Fantasy game a more difficult one. But other games like Black Desert Online won't run, and Final Fantasy XIV won't run, and MMOs like that. Forza Horizon 4 will run, but you can't actually play the game because it wants you to sign in, and SteamOS appears to not really be capable of letting you do that. There were some games that I really wanted to play but couldn't, and hopefully there will be support added for some of these, especially for Final Fantasy XI, even though I don't see that happening, but at least give it to 14, right? When it comes to the battery life, the default settings and all, you should expect around 3 to 4 hours of battery life on average, but for some games, I can see this dropping closer to 2 hours pretty easily. It does strongly depend on what game you're playing, so do keep that in mind. So finally, we have reached the conclusion of this video. The Steam Deck is amazing in a lot of ways. The good being the performance, the screen, and the controls. The bad being the compatibility and the fact that it only runs on SteamOS, even if I do like this operating system, but it does limit which games you can play, and the ugly being the size of this device. In the future, I would love to see a Steam Deck Mini or something like that to really make this a properly portable device. Because again, it's a handheld, sure, but it's not a very portable device. You won't catch me carrying this around in the train or in public transportation, but you will easily catch me using this in bed or around the house. But maybe we can have a version with no trackpads, a smaller screen, and no remappable buttons. Maybe this way we can have a more portable device, and it's something that I would really be all over. But honestly, the Steam Deck is an engineering marvel, as it is, and I still can't put my finger on why it is as affordable as it is. If you don't mind the size, then I think that the performance will really be to your liking, because it performs really well for the price. My advice is maybe that you don't get the base model, but get the 256GB model, at least for starters, because games are massive nowadays. Then upgrade it through the SD card slot. But man, I love my Steam Deck, and I think that it was worth every penny. Strongly recommended. And when the dock eventually comes out, I want to make a video about it and the Steam Deck to talk about any performance improvements, if any at all, or just how well it works. So do subscribe and stay tuned for that, because that should be coming whenever the dock comes out. So yeah. So thank you so much to all of you for watching this video all the way up until the very end. It is very much appreciated. And if you are interested in the Steam Deck, there aren't going to be any links below, because if you have a Steam account, then you should be able to access it just fine there. But yeah, if you were curious about what skin I had on my Steam Deck, that would be the honeycomb one, I think, from D-Brand. I'm going to leave that link down below as well. I also want to give a very special thanks to all of our patrons, beginning with the tier 3s, which in this case are going to be Omar. So thank you so much for all of your support, and everybody else is going to be listed on screen as well for the tier 2s and tier 1s. Thank you so much for everything again, because all of it really does go a long way. Now, I also wanted to suggest that you please go ahead and follow me on Twitch, because I should have a schedule soon. I'm just working out some kinks with my PC first, and also on Instagram, where I do post every now and then, or every once in a while. But with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and until next time, enjoy.